Here's the truth we all know. This country is not going to find internal peace or unity until the right wing learns to have some accountability for their words. The Utah governor should be resigning or abjectly apologizing today. That man did something incompetent, grotesque, disgusting, a complete violation of the public trust, and no one even notices. He stood at a press conference 2 days ago, right after Charlie Kirk was killed, and talked about the motive before they had a suspect. That is so egregious. He talked about the Great American Experiment and that this was a political assassination, inferring, assuming, implying that it was a leftist, liberal Democrat trying to affect political narrative. So too the entire right-wing echo chamber, so too all the right-wing leaders all said that. They're all wrong. Completely wrong. But will you hear that from any of them? Will any of them apologize for inciting and inflaming the public with a false narrative? No, you will not. Nor will you hear them say this: you were right, liberals, leftists, Democrats. It's the guns. By which I mean gun culture. I am not talking about hunting. I'm not talking about teaching your children about safe use of guns in the woods. I am talking about gun culture where adolescent boys are bathed in assault rifles and photographed with them and learn to use guns as a mode of expression and self-empowerment. I am talking about political leaders who wear assault rifles on their lapels as a symbol. That's the problem. 1,500 mass shootings in the last 25 years. That's the problem. This is another case of the same problem. But until Republicans admit that they're wrong when they talk without facts, and then admit who is right about the facts, we got ourselves a problem.
You mean to tell me a 22-year-old Mormon just tried to trigger a civil war with an ooh-woo? With an ooh-woo? That's what they said. I watched the press conference about the Charlie Kirk school shooting and how they caught a suspect. Governor of Utah, FBI director, standing up there talking about how they caught a 22-year-old man named Tyler Robinson, how his dad is a MAGA Mormon minister cop. They talked about how they found shell casings from a 30-06 with phrases written on them because every shooter got to write a phrase on a shell casing now because everybody got to copy everybody. And they get up there and they're talking about it and they start reading what was on the shell casings. And I was like, yo, what? That was an ooh-woo. That was an that's what they said. The governor of Utah is not online enough to read it that way. And there's no way he would read it that way. This is how he read the first shell casing, which is, I believe, the shell casing that took out Charlie Kirk. Because it was the only spent shell casing and only took one shot to take out Charlie, okay? This is how he read it. Notice his bulges, capital OWO, what's this question mark, was written on the spent shell casing. But here's the thing, if you're deep enough online, you know that that's not how you read that. How you're supposed to read that is, notice his bulges. Ew, what's this? That's how that's supposed to be read. We live in a deeply, deeply flawed and unserious world where people are constantly trying to cause and create chaos to accelerate their worldview into some sort of fantasy land that won't actually happen, even if they get their wish. And now we're all trapped here together, staring around, trying to figure out which Discord kitten wronged a shooter that then scarred the lives of, I want to say, about 3,000 people who were staring at a man in a tent. That's where we are now. Ooh.
Wow, the Utah governor is in hot water right now. But America is dragging him left and right, demanding that he either apologize or straight up resign because he said the quiet part out loud. Yes, this is true. You know, when politicians slip up and reveal what they really think, yeah, this was one of those moments. And let me tell you, the internet is not letting him breathe. So today, we are breaking down what he said, why people are so furious, and how this could actually threaten his career. Let's get into it.
So I don't know if any of you watched the press conference today. I want to talk about what the governor of Utah said, which was that he really hoped that it wasn't someone from his state. He went on to say that he hoped it was someone from another state. He hoped it was someone from another country. Now, then he goes on to say that the division in the politics needs to stop. He in no way gave a speech today to me that would say, oh, he wants it to stop. I thought my governor was bad. Ugh. Tate Reeves, geez. I thought he was radicalized. When you think about the stuff that he was saying, the governor, his mind shows to me that he is more focused on blaming actual problems here in America on homegrown soil. They are so much more focused on finding other reasons to blame stuff on, just like a narcissist, right? When they know that there is really a problem, they are so much more focused on finding other reasons to excuse the problem. It's a homegrown terroristic act, just like all of the other school shootings. And that's the issue that needs to be fixed. It's not looking for people outside of your state or out of the country. You know, this is here. This is at home. This is something that needs to be addressed again. And one last thing I want to talk about. I looked at a lot of the comments that were going on during that live, and oh my God, so many threats on left-leaners.
Well, fucking well. What do you know? It looks like they caught the Charlie Kirk shooter suspect. And who could have guessed that he would be a Republican-raised Mormon incel who went as Donald Trump for Halloween and also carved on the bullets or bullet casings, I'm not sure exactly which, carved on them the message, if you're seeing this, you're gay. LMAO. This is the mastermind we're working with here. And not to fan the flames of conspiracy theories, but I know you're all seeing them, and I know you know which ones I'm talking about. But the fact that there was a very swift, coordinated response from Republican politicians, policymakers, influencers, normies, everyone really, to get out there first and say that this was a Democrat. What are they gonna say now? And I mean, obviously this is not our first rodeo. We know that they're not going to concede or admit that they were wrong. They're just gonna double down or pivot completely away from it and hope that everyone forgets. And also, I do think it's very important to say that when I say they caught him, I do not mean the FBI. I do not mean Kash Patel, because this kid's dad turned him in after he confessed, presumably guilty conscience or something. And as a matter of fact, Kash Patel actually arrested the wrong person, announced that he arrested that person incorrectly and had to release him. And after all the effort, all the manpower, all the resources they put into this, they couldn't even find him. His dad turned him in. And of course, we may likely never know the answer to this question, but it really makes you think. Were they ever really intending on finding him? Or was Republicans' vested interest in this no longer there anymore? Was the task at hand already complete? Makes you think, makes you think. Comment below. What do you think? Theoretically, of course. And while I have you, be sure, like, repost, share with a friend, because they got him, guys, and it was exactly who we thought it was. And be sure to follow me for more updates like this, because there's gonna be more.
I don't appreciate when Republican politicians and pundits try and gaslight millions of people into having sympathy for a man who spent his entire career as a political activist actively dehumanizing people in this country. I will not have empathy nor sympathy for a man who used every single inch of his political power to sway politics in the way he did in this country towards making it as broken as he did. That man actively encouraged the thing that happened to him. I don't appreciate when Republicans try and pull this, oh, Democrats own this. No, we have tried for the last 2 decades, really since Columbine, for stricter gun laws and common sense gun laws in this country to alleviate the pain that these incidents cause families. This man completely agreed that children should die for the Second Amendment. I will have no sympathy for a man who couldn't even give families the decency of figuring out whether or not their kids were alive or dead before he would get online and spew his bigotry and hatred about the situation to millions of people and even encourage it. I will have no empathy for those that say empathy is a sin or that empathy is a new age term that causes damage. No, you will get no sympathy from me, nor millions of people like me. I mean, for fuck's sake, the president couldn't even be a decent human enough to fly the flag at half-mast when 2 Democratic politicians were assassinated earlier this year, but now the flag is going to fly at half-mast for a Republican pundit till Sunday. So no, I will not be taking the high road, because every time in my life I have tried to take the high road with people like you, it never works out. You guys have exhausted the goodwill of this country and its countrymen, and you fully deserve the consequences of your actions. I will not show sympathy to a human being who is directly responsible for so many of the current problems we have in this country and how much he egged those problems to be worse. Do you know who this lies on? This lies on Republican politicians and the NRA and all of their lobbyists who for decades have stalled forward progress in this country for their own political and financial gain. I will have no sympathy when a man as vile as this, because it's not just his opinions. All right, get that out of your head. I don't hate this man just because of his opinions. Everyone's entitled to an opinion, you moron. What I hate him for is the fact that he has directly influenced our politics. He used his platform to make people's lives worse, millions of people's lives worse. I don't hate him for his opinion. I hate him for his actions. Because actions speak louder than words every time. I don't care how good of a person you say you are or how right you say you are. When your actions directly lead to the consequences that we have seen today. There was a school shooting at the exact same time Charlie Kirk got shot in Colorado. Where's that? Where's the flag at half-mast for those kids? None? Because see, you Republicans only care about sympathy and empathy when the consequences of your actions finally catch up to you. You'll get none from anyone aside from your own pundits. Because at the end of the day, the sun will rise tomorrow. The sun rose today. And you know what? Genuinely, it rose a little bit brighter today for a lot of people. Because this man not only impacted the lives directly of millions of people with his hate speech and rhetoric, he completely shaped politics in the sense that politics used to actually have decorum. Politics used to actually give a shit whether or not you were lying or telling the truth. And men like him exacerbated the problem and is the reason we have liars like we do today.
So what exactly did the Utah governor say? He made comments that sounded casual on the surface, but when you dig deeper, they exploit some ugly truths. Yeah. People are calling it racist, tone-deaf, and disrespectful. And when a governor says something like that, it's not just words. Yeah, it's a reflection of how he leads and how he sees his own people. And the worst part, he didn't even seem to realize how bad it sounded until the backlash hit. Here is where it gets messy. What America Online didn't hold back. Yeah, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, people dragged him hard. I'm telling you, people dragged him hard. You've got folks saying, apologize now. Others saying, nah, forget the apology. He needs to resign. Memes, videos, think pieces, everywhere you look, people are calling him out. Oh my God, this is insane. And honestly, when both sides of the internet agree you messed up, you know you are in trouble. Yes, we are in trouble. This is not just about one bad comment. Yeah, it's about what it represents. Leaders are supposed to unite, not divide. And when you say the quiet part out loud, you're basically showing the mask sleeping. People don't want excuses anymore. They don't want them. Yeah, they want accountability, and that's why the anger is so strong, because it feels like he just confirmed what many already suspected. And let's be real, this is bigger than Utah. This is about trust in leadership across America. So every time a politician slips up like this, it makes people question all the politicians. This is what happens. That's why this story is blowing up. It's not just about one man, it's about a system. Yeah, it's about a system where too often the truth slips out in the worst ways. So yeah, white America is dragging the Utah governor for saying the quiet part out loud. And now the question is simple. Should he just apologize and move on, or should he actually resign? What do you think? Was this just a slip up, or was this the truth spilling out? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I will be checking them out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video so many people can join this conversation. See you in the next episode. Bye.